Welcome to Warner Brothers. Most people think of Warner Brothers as films, but they actually had a lot of animation come out of here. If you remember Married Melodies and Looney Tunes, that was all Warner Brothers. And they had other shows like Dallas, JR's hat. Now, I've been looking forward to coming here and showing you guys this for a long time. This place is just unbelievable. There's Lisa Kudrow's guitar from the show Friends. Here's a mock-up of the water tower. It's pretty prominently featured on the studio. Now I'll show you what I can on this tour. I know that there's certain places in here where they don't like you to film, especially near the sound stages, because it is a working studio and they are filming things on the lot even today. So we have to be careful and try to abide by the rules, but I'll show you what I can because they have a lot of really cool stuff here to show you. So many classic films came out of these studios. Here's a mock-up of what one of the sound stages looks like. Now, I believe they have 31 sound stages on the lot here, and that's where they do all the TV shows and a lot of the films. The microphone from the jazz singer. That's incredible. $1 Million Baby, Clint Eastwood, Hilary Swank. There's her boxing gloves from the film. I believe Hilary Swank won an Oscar for her portrayal in that film. The legendary Jack Warner, one of the original Warner brothers, obviously. Hardbound copies of some of the scripts that he had. And his phone book. I bet if you could look through here, there'd be some really interesting names. If you can see through the glass, Walt Disney is there in the middle on the right. What I would give to look through this. Here's some of the things being shot on the lot today. Young Sheldon, Abbott Elementary.
Come on. Okay, I'll play it in a second. In the meantime, we've come into Warner Village, which is our newest backlot. We call them backlots because they're at the back of the studio. And it's just literally a plot of land that's been used for something, right? So we call them lots. If you'll notice, the street curves. And that's intentional because if we set a camera at this end or at the other end, there's no end to the neighborhood. It just can go on and on and on. It just gives that impression that it is an actual real neighborhood. So this was used to call Laramie Street. It was a Western. We shot the Wild Wild West here with Will Smith and Salma Hayek. But Westerns are just not that popular anymore. So we thought, this is prime land. We need to make better use of it. And so production was asked, what do you need? And production said, well, we need more offices. But we also need like a slice of Americana, right? A street that would have houses that could be middle class, upper middle class, located pretty much anywhere in the United States. So we compromised. And so the term that I want you to kind of remember is facade. Facade is a French word that means a fake front. But in this case, we're using, the houses are real, they're fully built, and they're occupied by writers, directors, and producers from different shows. They come in usually through the back, and we can use the front of the houses and the outside of the houses as facades, meaning we film on the outside, but we don't actually go inside of the houses. So Jason Segel in the Muppet movie, he had an entire huge musical number happening right here on the street. And we rebooted Full House into Fuller House on Netflix. DJ's Flash Mob Wedding Proposal, what happened right here. Yeah. Yes. These houses, they do have furniture because they are actually occupied by, they're used as offices. So there's writers and directors and producers who have their offices set up in here. So yes, that's a great question. By the way, the house right here on the right, that is Wolowitz's house in Big Bang Theory. Yeah. And at one point, actually, there's a funny sequence in Big Bang Theory where we set off some fake speed bumps, and Wolowitz is riding his Vespa, and Sheldon is hanging on for dear life in the back, screaming his head off because every time they go over the speed bump, he thinks that's the end of him. So that was all shot right here. Then the Grease department comes here. They go up on a lift, pull off all of the little blooms off the tree. They don't hurt the trees. They don't kill them, obviously. They pull them off and they leave the tree barren. 4 weeks later, somebody comes up and says, well, now we want it to be just a blooming, beautiful spring day. The Grease department comes back and they've assembled branches with real trees and real branches. And they go up and they zip tie them to the trees. And they also staple on, little flowers or leaves or whatever the tree, whatever they need the tree to look like. And so, yes, that's what they do. And I used to joke around that if anybody wants that job, let me know and I'll get you the application. But really, truly, I have nothing but admiration for what they do because it's not a very big team, but they handle all of the vegetation and they can transform it so they become part of the design of the environment in which we're filming, right? The magic of the image that we're seeing and that we're creating.
It's amazing how they can create a facade and fake buildings to make it look like real cities.
And you can see when we're filming, anybody can walk up to the doors, that area, and if you cut, it looks like they've gone into, and that's the actual hallway. The school itself is built in one of the sound stages, which we don't have access to. But you can see, this is called forced perspective, and it really does. The camera looks at that, and it looks absolutely real. It's gonna go slowly. Here's the little garden where they're supposedly planting. One of the characters handles the garden in front of the school.
Into a futuristic Los Angeles for Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. And this is the spot where Sheldon stole a copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark and was chased by an angry Will Wheaton and friends in the hit sitcom The Big Bang Theory.
Why is there never a pontoon plane when you need one?
So the courthouse?
Director Ben Affleck filmed scenes all over the lot for the Academy Award-winning motion picture Argo, including this one on the courthouse steps.
So you already saw The Big Bang Theory, and then what did we say were the 3 shows? First question, the final exam. Very good. The 2.5 minutes, the mic is coming up right now. So I can also slow down.
Most people that work here have an office on site. And if you had an office, it might look a little bit like this. If you work at Warner Brothers or really anything in the entertainment business, people send you scripts all the time. Storyboards. This is kind of how they put a story together. They'll have ideas and they'll sketch out what scenes might look like.
I'm a writer, and I write, and I'm proud to do it.
Here's an example.
It's a part of my job that I do. My name is John Wells. I started at Warner Brothers on June 1st, 1986, on a relatively forgettable show called Shell Game for CBS, but I've been an executive producer, writer, and director on a number of shows, ER, and things like that.
If you were a casting agent, this is probably how your office would look. Agents send in headshots of all kinds of different actors and actresses that you would be looking for to fill a role. Usually they have kind of a general idea of what they would like the person to look like. So they'll put pictures under the character names. Now this is one of the more fascinating things. These are animation cells. Now when they're making cartoons and everything else, they have to draw, these things are hand drawn, or at least they were back in the day. I'm not so sure about now. But they will hand draw each of these and then they will paint them in, and then you mix them all together to make motion. So it would take a lot of these to actually make a cartoon. It is incredible. And in here we have some costumes. Let's see what we got here. Oh, from the Elvis movie with Austin Butler. Here's some costumes from the Selena film. She was portrayed by Jennifer Lopez back in 1997. Now, if you watch the Oscars, a lot of times you'll notice that people, some people will win an Oscar for costumes, and this is what they do. They will make these costumes as authentic as they can for the films. And a lot of times that's kind of an overlooked art. Crazy Rich Asians, a few of their outfits. I've never seen this show. Here's one for you Batman fans. This one was worn by Michael Keaton. Batman Returns. This is a throwback to my childhood. It's Michael Jordan's from Space Jam, 1996. That was a pretty good movie. On the other side, Toon Squad. This one was worn by LeBron James. Here's a few scripts from Friends. They're signed by all the cast members. Now these would have some pretty good value because, to be honest, I've been around Hollywood for a long time, and obviously Matthew Perry's gone, but not many of these people are good about signing autographs. Looks like these are a few lights from the set. And there's a photo of the cast from Friends. Just a legendary show. And maybe those were some of the first actors and actresses to make over $1 million an episode. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like that might be the case. There's some classic movie memorabilia in here. It's so cool to be able to see this. My Fair Lady, 1964. The gangster films. These really are some of the greats. And I kind of wonder if, when they made these films, did they know that that some of these were gonna be classics? I really don't know. Hopefully you can see this okay. This camera is very, very small, so it's kind of hard to see what you can see and what you can't with the reading. This one was from Joan Crawford and Betty Davis. Lauren Bacall. And Olivia de Havilland. Here's some of the sets from The Big Bang Theory. This show I've come to appreciate, but it did take me watching it a few times before I kind of understood the humor. There's a couple of costumes over there. And a setup of the lunchroom from The Big Bang Theory. equipped with a few more costumes. Now, a little TV show magic. If you watch a TV show and you hear all the laughing, that's because they do all these with a studio audience. The lighting is up on top, these are built on a sound stage, and the audience is behind where I would be right now. And the green screens. They also call this chroma key. If you want to change the background, you can. You can make it a desert, you can make it city roads, and the viewer probably is not going to know the difference. They're not going to realize that this is just in a soundstage. This is pretty cool. Let me show you how this works. You can dance. And it tracks your motion. That's how they do things like this. There's actually somebody moving the movements, but it comes up as an animated character. Here is post-production. And as somebody who has worked on several movies, I have to say post-production is probably the hardest part, because that's where you fix all the problems that happen during production. And you add in voiceover, editing. It entails a lot. These are the people that really earn their money. Now this is something called foley arts. It says walnuts are used right here to make the sound of ice cubes going into a cup. And dog food cans can be opened to create alien or monster vocalizations. Now, inflating and deflating balloons in certain ways can also mimic groans, roars, and all kinds of different sound effects. Clapping coconuts together, make it sound like a horse is trotting. That actually works. If you're on the studio tour, you can get a photo taken in front of the green screen, and it can look like you are in your favorite movie.
The bottom of the screen along with the timing prompt. Just read along with the script. You're going to do great. But first, I'm going to play the original scene for you to review, so pay close attention to your role and the timing of the dialogue. Here we go.
So how about tonight?
I got a dinner at home.
Okay, so after. And I don't take no for an answer either. See you tonight.
Okay.
That pretty much concludes what I wanted to show you for today. There's going to be a lot more stuff that I'm going to show you in a future video, and we're going to try to do a few more studios and a lot more Hollywood locations and all that kind of stuff. So if this is your first time here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And for the rest of you, thanks so much for watching, and take care.